Hello, guys. If the music ear-raped you, I am extremely sorry. I was just listening to it before I started recording, and I thought, oh, what the hell? I'll make you guys listen to it too because it's Pantera. And if you don't like Pantera, you can go to hell. But anyway, in this video, not today's video, I'm going to be posting 2 videos. At least I hope I will post 2 videos in one day. But anyway, in this video, we're going to be talking about are feminists taking over the moral high ground. And I don't mean actual feminists. I don't mean feminists of the first and the second wave that actually paved the way for a good little bit of equal rights in the 1920s and then 1910s and the 1960s and 70s. I'm talking about third wave feminism, which is the worst wave of feminism, which played off all the negativities of the second wave and decided to make it even worse. So, yeah. And I don't know if anybody else has really talked about this yet, and if I'm the first one, then woohoo, that means this video is going to get more views than normal, which is awesome. I need more views. Because, quite honestly, I see more and more feminists trying to act like they're egalitarian, but they still hold the label feminist, and then also hold all the really shitty stuff of third wave feminism, such as toxic masculinity and stuff like that. Which, like I said, makes no sense to me. If you're gonna try to act egalitarian but then go third wave feminism, that's not gonna help you to the naked eye. But if this really is true, feminists are actually trying to become more egalitarian, or at least some of them are actually trying to rectify their mistakes of being third wave feminist bitches, or if they're actually just trying to pander and try to get more support, which is kind of what a lot of people are doing at the moment with their own political standpoints and stuff like that, which is very infuriating and stuff like that. So here's the rundown. For the past few, I want to say weeks, maybe the last month or so, I've been, let me think. Yeah, the past month or so, I've seen a lot of feminists saying stuff like, it's okay for men to cry, and they're starting to say more stuff about male sexual abuse shelters and stuff like that, which got me thinking, there's no way this is happening. I started to realize this was kind of a turn into the ridiculous when a few websites said, oh, a bunch of feminists are running the male domestic abuse shelters, trying to stick it to the men's rights activists. In which I was like, what? I haven't heard any of this. Alright, and I actually searched it up on Google. Nothing came up. Said all what came up, if I can... Let me find it real fast, because I found something interesting. Yeah, I found the Reddit page that I was looking at when I was researching this. This is just feminist on this guy in Canada in 2012. This guy named Earl Silverman, who had the only male domestic abuse shelter open at the time, and it was about to go under. No part due to the feminists bitching about the entire thing. And when when funding was finally withdrew because they couldn't, really keep it up to standards, because when you're running it out of your own pocket, it's going to be pretty damn hard to try to keep finances up. And so, Earl Silverman's shelter ran low. He himself was a victim of domestic abuse, which is one of the reasons why he opened it in the first place. And so, since that happened to a shelter, he ended up killing himself over it. And I found a whole slew of articles from Slate and Salon saying, oh, feminism doesn't kill this guy. This guy killed this guy. Which, obviously, this guy killed this guy. But the dude wasn't A, abused by his fucking wife, leading him to open the shelter in the first place, and B, lambasted by a bunch of feminists for opening the shelter by claiming he was a sexist, or something like that. Why the fuck were no feminists talking about this earlier? Alright? Like, the hypocrisy is really astounding. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, people? Why are you just now doing this? How come I've heard no feminists really talking about Earl Silverman in the times past since then? It's got me really curious as to why all of a sudden they're just swishing on this issue and hoping nobody notices. And it's working to a point, because a lot of people are reposting this crap that aren't necessarily feminists, but aren't necessarily either conservative or, you know, just your average Joe. It's just, I'm just like, how can you fall for this, to be honest with you? Unless you're really uneducated and you're trying to find some way of getting information, and that's the one that you happen to be put into, then I feel sorry for you. So I feel incredibly sorry for you, because you've been basically misled by every media outlet in the world, because that's exactly what's happening here. Is feminists, third-wave feminists, are coming out of the woodwork, misleading basically everyone and anyone who had actually come to actually help with the men's rights movement, especially in Canada. And they're also forgetting in 2012 there was a summit that was for men's rights activism in Canada that was also shut down by a bunch of female protesters by pulling the fire alarm a bunch of times, leading for people to come outside, and then came up the meme. This is basically the entire thing that inspired the meme with that red-haired feminist who was bitching about everything. That was the one that had that chick in it. And she was like, "Oh, everything's all patriarchy. You can't have marriage, and marriage is a typical patriarchy," and stuff like that. And then you're just sitting there, and you're wondering, it must be that hard being that fucking stupid. But anyway, on to my previous point. My point is, this is not good. Feminists are trying to take an egalitarian stance, but claiming they are feminist, which is going to give themselves credence to the untrained eye. It's going to get them more support, it's going to get them more funding, and then if they actually play this right, they'll be misleading a hell of a lot of people with this falsification. Like, if you're not going to actually do anything about racism, like, I'm okay with changing your ideals on this. If they were actually meaningfully changing their ideals on this issue, I would have believed it. I would have believed that this was an actual good. But that's not what's happening here. That's not what's happening. Yeah, I can tell because those same people were posting a bunch of shit about toxic masculinity. If you were actually caring about men, if you were actually wanting to keep men from committing suicide, if you wanted to actually help them with that, you should stop bashing everything that they do by claiming it's toxic masculinity. It's fucking bullshit. Alright, the hypocrisy is just astounding to me. I don't go around claiming I have toxic femininity. Alright? You know what toxic femininity and toxic masculinity really is? It's just bad behavior men and women do. Alright? It's just bad behavior overall. I don't understand why it's all just pushed onto one gender spectrum. It's not one gender spectrum. On one gender. Alright? There are, yes, more people in both sexes do a lot of both bad shit. Why can't we acknowledge that? Why can't we acknowledge that? Instead, these people are trying to claim, oh, hey, men should be able to cry, which is reasonable. Men should be able to cry, especially if they're in a really bad fucking situation. But if what you're going to say the next moment is complaining about toxic masculinity like it's not a bad thing. Like, it's already a bad thing anyway. But still, if you're going to complain about toxic masculinity like it's something so freaking rampant, like a dinosaur in a Jurassic Park movie, you're not going to really get the credence of any educated people. But what they are going to do, and what they're going to keep doing, is actually get more and more support. There it is. Now what? If they try to present themselves as unbiased on the issue of sexual equality, equality among the sexes, then the people who they are giving out with their information with, it's gonna help basically just fuck everything up, and then next thing you know, we're gonna have basically a pussy whip generation. Alright, this is bad. Alright, these people are not, it's bad because these people are just not being honest about this issue. It's really, it's sickening. It's really sickening, and I just, Man, I had myself going really well there with my yelling, but then that didn't. But then that stopped because I'm a fucking moron. But still, my entire point here is that you should not take what these people say seriously unless they actually mean it, and they do not actually mean it because they are trying to bash men. If you're not going to actually try to challenge your own morality and try to put differences aside so we can have some actual feelings about the issue that are relevant, we're not going to get any better anywhere as a society. We're just going to be screwed. All of our moral relativism is just going to go out the freaking window, which is not good. Like I said, it's very not good. And look, all this stuff about men being able to cry, I am okay with that. All right, men are the majority of people. The majority of people who commit suicide are men. Alright, and feminists used to disregard that all the time. They still do. And they're disregarding that right now with all this bullshit. With all this bullshit about toxic masculinity and stuff like that. But they're trying to claim the moral high ground by basically saying, hey, it's okay for men to cry, or it's okay for men to wear makeup and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's okay if men want to wear makeup and stuff like that. I'm okay with that. I don't think you should be normalizing it for children to do. But still, all the stuff that they're talking about, all the stuff about being able to cry, that stuff I am very much agreeing with. But the fact that, but they keep saying, is that masculinity prevents them from doing that. It's some type of stereotype that men aren't supposed to cry, which is really extremely dumb, man. It's extremely dumb. My brothers have cried. I've cried. I've had friends cry in front of me. People cry all the time, man. You know how many people who cried out of my freaking graduating class? All the guys who I imagined being the most insensitive guys were crying. They were crying their fucking eyes out. And these people have the freaking nerve to say that it's a freaking masculine stereotype that men aren't allowed to cry, and then all of a sudden turning that against us in order to promote this idea of toxic masculinity. It is the most astounding bullshit, and the fact that people believe this stuff, even when presented with evidence, if people are presented with the evidence and actually look at it thoroughly and reject it, that's good. But if they take the evidence and then they actually believe it, well, not the evidence, if they take the evidence and disregard that just to believe this entire concept of toxic masculinity being applied to most or all men, it just shows you where feminism has really fell short in the past. Well, third wave feminism has fell short since it became really popular in the 2000s. Like, it's sad, and I really hope that some type of change happens that really just puts third wave feminists in a hole. Like, just shuts them down for good. And just keeps them out of the public sphere enough so that way we can actually get some real equality done. Because third wave feminists aren't getting equality done. Alright, in Sweden, like, know that term mansplaining? That was popularized in freaking Sweden when a guy was explaining to a woman in the freaking, some type of political scene at the House of Congress or something like that about something. She says, oh no, you're mansplaining. It's like, what's wrong with me mansplaining? I'm telling you facts and shit like that. Alright, and a bunch of people have been using that ever since then to basically try to disregard anything a man says that is really credible. Alright? I just want people to shut up. And I want feminists especially to shut up. And if they were to shut up, at least third wave feminists, if third wave feminists were just able to shut the hell up, we would get more stuff done as a society. We would get at least more stuff done better as a society. And if we would stop making everything about gender and about race, it would just, I'd be really happy. And I think a lot of women would be happy too. A lot of men would be happy, a lot of women would be happy. Case closed. If you don't like that, well, tough shit. That's my perception on things. Disagree with it if you want. Alright, it's called a free country, and it's called freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Use that to your own fucking ability and leave me the fuck out of this. well, not leave the fuck out of this, and leave gender out of it. Just please leave gender out of it. If you want to be an asshole, be an asshole. Just don't be a sexist. Now, if you want to come up with legitimate reasons why males are doing bad things a lot worse than women, I understand that, because it is. That men are the majority of the populations and stuff. Alright? But saying it's because men are biologically more suited to do this stuff because patriarchy and toxic masculinity, you're just being an asshole, and you're not deserving of anyone taking you seriously. Alright, so anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. That was a good little rant I hope I did there, and I'll have some more video game sessions coming soon after Christmas, especially, hopefully, with NASCAR Heat 2, and maybe even Call of Duty World War II, which, as you have known, if you paid attention to at least some of my videos, I've bashed for trying to censor itself into oblivion before the game ever released, and where I've had some new evidence where I was convinced that it might be a good game, but then it was all debunked 2 seconds later when the game came out. So anyway, that'll be fun. So you can get an analysis of Call of Duty World War II, and I'll try to keep my Wolfenstein Let's Play going because I need to. I need to kick more ass on Wolfenstein. I love playing the game. I've just been real distracted lately with work and Christmas because it's so damn difficult trying to not only buy presents for everybody, but also work at Walmart because fuck Walmart. No, not kidding. Not really. But like, fuck. I've just been working too much and I'm just tired. Alright, y'all have a good one. And, by the way, don't die.